When will I be good enough to be all I wanna be? When will I be good enough to live my life and be free? When will I dance till the morning lights up my day? When?
A letter that Dan wrote to me when I was really quite ill. And he said, "Dear Mum, here's a tape for your listening pleasure. It includes some music to cheer you up, like the death scene from Evita and some Bulgarian funeral music." I'm not joking, he says. Well, it sounds like a real party there. I was really quite ill. I was really sick. But he says over here, he said he loves I Love Mum on Grains of Rice. Oh, that's devotion, writing I Love Mum on Grains of Rice. But what is she thinking? Why is he writing on rice and not reading his French assignments? You can't win. But you can see this
sense of humor, this guy.
This wicked spirit that he had, absolutely wicked.
How was Dan so creative?
I personally believe that we are like rocks, and that when we rub up against people, we start to get shiny. And the more people we rub up against, the shinier we're going to get. You know, the more the facets will gleam. He was brought up in the most remarkable environment. International School of Kenya had 46 nationalities. Every single kid virtually was from a different country, it felt like. Our home became a hotbed of diversity, and you know, whether it was Kenyan ministers to people I'd meet on the street, or you know, be interviewing scores of people through every week. We would have gatherings. I worked with Abercrombie in Canada, and I'd have parties for hundreds. We met the humblest of all people who gave us the most. That's the reason that he had so much input flowing into this spirit. And that's why I'm such a believer in global awareness. The more we can bring the world into us, the more fascinated people will become, and the more they desire to be connected. And the creative spark just starts to bubble. He also didn't have electronic devices, except he had you know, a boom box, and we had a computer, but there wasn't a lot up to do. So you had to do a little more creativity. Journey is a Destination. This is the first book that was published, and it's a collection of journal pages from this this young man, and it's been very interesting to see it all over the country and all over the world.
Where did you find the journals from? Were they in?
They were everywhere, all over the world. And by the way, this is the page. What's the difference between exploring and being lost? The journey is the destination. That's what he was saying. We found them in London, at my flat in London. This is the latest book. It's called Dan Eldon, A Safari is a Way of Life. And it's an interactive book for teens. It's got all sorts of addenda that you can pull out, play with, put on the wall.
I can't believe that there's so much content in just one page. I could spend hours just looking at one page.
Thank you. It's kind of, yeah.
It's quite,
and most
it's otherworldly, to be honest.
Well, I don't know where it came from.
That's how I feel.
Dan Eldon, The Art of Life. This is an illustrated biography. And then more recently, we have created what I showed you before, which is Dan Eldon, the creative activist, a guide to transforming the world around you. This particular one is a collection by Guillaume Bon, who is a French photographer, war photographer, living in Kenya and Paris, who did a beautiful show called Silent Lives about the servant life in Kenya. But when I saw it, I thought, you know what, this is servants anywhere in the world. This could be in Malibu, this could be in...
Yeah, beautiful symbol that you have.
Do you know what it is?
What does it represent? Because I'm drawn to it. I'm like,
this is another little secret.
What is this?
Okay, you know the I Ching?
Yes, I do, yeah.
That is the very first hexagram from the I Ching, and it means creative. And it's the kind of God force that comes through us and transforms the idea into action. And I love it so much.
Me too.
It's usually just that straight line, so you just did it sort of like that.
Yep.
Very few people ask, and very few people bother to find out what it means, but it is the creative force. Hillary asked Julia to be the global spokesperson for safe cook stoves. And you may or may not know, but around the world, one of the key sources of death, actually, is through cook stoves. I'm very proud of this project. I think almost more proud than anything, but we did a PBS series back in 2003 that my daughter Amy presented.
That's Amy.
That's Amy.
The way you present things is so beautiful. I walked in here and I'm like, wow.
Good, I'll tell
Look at all that's happening.
We just put it up. I'm really thrilled, and it was done by one of our wonderful, she's a costume designer actually, who works here, volunteers here. One of my favorite projects is Happy, and this is about the essence of happiness. Rocco Bellic, funded by Tom Shadyac, who did the fabulous film I Am, It's really, you got to get it if you download
love
it. It's
him.
fantastic. We have all these incredible projects, including Brand Aid Haiti, which is run by the head of J. Walter Thompson in Canada. And that's his side job. This is not his full-time job. But it's helping to brand and distribute artisan crafts. What's a creative activist? A person who uses creativity to advocate
He uses
for crafts.
his or her creativity to vigorously advocate for a cause.
In the past, we've done a
Powerful.
number of other films. We did actually a film that you would love is Soldiers of Peace, a children's crusade. This was about the children's peace movement in Colombia. We co-produced it with the United Nations, or they helped us produce it. But it was about how children between the ages of 8 and 16 created a peace movement in Colombia, in one of the most violent countries in the world.
Between 8 and 16?
Yeah.
That's just stunning.
They were. We have a couple of Nobel laureates in that film as well. Dying to Tell the Story is looking at why these people do what they do, the journalists. Soldiers of Peace is about why do children in the center of war create peace.
Why do they do what they do?
They are, they are driven to tell stories that they believe will change the world, or ignite action.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's, yes, there's an adrenaline. I was a journalist. I've never been happier professionally than when I was a journalist. It's phenomenal.
Yes.
You get highs every day.